Title belts to Hall of Fame. Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughter, cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. Guys, kings ruling the waves. Memphis wrestling raising the stage.
Hey everybody, welcome back once again to Dangerous Conversations with Dangerous Doug, Gilbert, and Tommy Wildfire Rich. Guys, we're back again. We've got some more fan questions, but before we get to all that, how are y'all?
Man, I'm doing great, Gene, and I'm sure we'll hear from Tommy. I'm sure he's doing great also. But, man, I'm happy to be on here with you. And I'm going to start out saying a couple hellos to one of my buddies that listens every week. His name is Skip. He said he really enjoys you and Tommy and myself. And I told him I'd give him a little shout out and everything. But he's a great guy and great wrestling fan and everything. But, Tommy, how are you doing?
Shoot, it's good, man. Just glad to be here. Back another week, man. We survived the week. So, life's good, man. Don't think I got all this tan. Of course, I know the folks can't see it, but I know y'all looking at me glowing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was running a little late today, but I had to go to the gym, get me a tan and a little workout. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was more tanning than it was working out.
I got you. Good deal. And, hey, Gene, I want to tell everybody thanks for coming out to the show in Henderson last Saturday night and everything. Man, there was a big turnout there. And like you said, and I've said before, and Tommy's been there before, but it's for the Carl Perkins Child Abuse Center. We raised a lot of money for them, and that was really cool. Everybody coming out. I want to thank everybody for that. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Like this coming week, Tommy's going to be in, Tommy, you're in Kentucky the 10th and 11th, right?
Kentucky for Time Warp. They're putting on a big Friday and Saturday meet and greet. Friday night I'm wrestling. So I'm excited about that. I just hope there ain't no big long lines at the airport. TSA, I hope that stuff's straight. So, and I know Gene's hoping on that.
You better believe it, man.
You ain't kidding. And then we've got Tommy the next weekend, I think it is. You'll be in Las Vegas, right? Yes,
sir. Got the big WrestleCon. Got the WrestleCon there, man. Excited about that. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm not saying I'm going to get in no trouble or nothing, but that's the place to do it.
That sounds like a winner, but if anybody go out and see Tommy, go out and see Tommy and have a conversation and take a picture with him. Then the 25th of April, I will be in Jonesboro, Arkansas at the Earl Bell Community Center. So everybody come out. There's going to be a meet and greet during the day. I think it starts at 4, and it'll be myself and the King will be there, Jerry Lawler. There'll be a few more guys there with us, but I think it starts like 4 on the 25th. And then on May the 8th and 9th, Tommy and myself, the Memphis Mafia, Wildfire, Tommy Rich, Dangerous Doug, Gilbert will be in Fairview Heights, Illinois at the Radisson Hotel. Now, I did say Radisson. I didn't say wrestling. My wife thought I was saying the wrestling hotel, but it's actually at the Radisson Hotel at Fairview Heights, Illinois, which that's the SICW Fan Fest 4. It's May 8th and 9th. Tommy Wildfire Rich will be there, and Dangerous Doug Gilbert, the Memphis Mafia, will be there signing autographs on Friday night and Saturday, then wrestling. I think it's Saturday night, right, Tommy?
Yes, sir, man. And what better, man, coming back? I mean, when you talk about NWA, that's one of the homes for NWA. You talk about Herb Simmons, SICW, man, they still carrying on that old school wrestling, man. I wrestled for them a few times, and the fans are great. They love the wrestling. And this is a big event. I mean, it's a Battle Royal Memorial for Bruiser Brody, man. And what a great you talk about a trailblazer. I mean, in wrestling, he kind of like Andre. He was a freak of nature. I mean, and a wild man. And but the family man, though, A lot of people didn't get to see that. I had the opportunity to see that lighter side. I'm Frank Goodish, let me say that. And Barbara, I'm looking forward to getting to see you. And, it's just going to be a big weekend there. I mean, like I said, Herb Simmons, one of the last of the old school wrestling. I mean, especially if it was affiliated with the NWA. And the 8th and 9th will be autograph signing. Saturday, like Dougie said, we'll be wrestling. And, we're just fired up about it.
Yeah, no, that'd be, great to see Barbara and Darla and everything. It'd be cool to see them. It'd be cool to see everybody in St. Louis and everything. And that'd be really neat. And then we jump on to just a date in July. That's I've got wrote down here. It's at Ashland City, right outside of Nashville. You might as well say Nashville, but it's Ashland City, Tennessee, which is right by Nashville. Myself, Road Dogg, a few more will be at it. And then jump on from July to August 29th, 2026. Myself and Tommy are both supposed to be at the first annual memorial show in Marion, Arkansas for Sid Vicious. That ought to be a cool big event that his son's putting on and everything. And but anyway, we've got some different stuff, and we got to plug Gene's thing June the 6th at Hub City Brewery here in Jackson, Tennessee, right, Gene?
That's right. Stand-up comedy. I was told the other night that I will be headlining that show, so I'll be putting in a little more time this time. So yeah, I hope everybody comes out and laughs or heckles or whatever you feel like doing, as long as you show up. Looking forward to it.
Well, as long as you come, that's the main thing, right, Gene?
That's right. So as always, man, you got listeners sending in some really great questions. And so I thought we would make this a Q&A episode, if that's cool with you guys, and let you answer some of these questions that have been coming in. First one we got is from Memphis Mike. In your opinion, who was the greatest masked wrestler of all time?
Tommy, you want me to start, or you want to start this?
Well, I can. It had to be that doggone mysterious Mr. R from Boston. No. Hey, oh God. I mean, Bill Leedy, man, he was good. I mean, there's a few that you could put on that list. I mean, as far as kayfabe and kayfabe and anything you want to call it, wrestling number 2 was the best at that. And, drawed a bunch of money there in Georgia. I mean, and the Assassins. There's a lot of them that was, really good. And I'm sure Dougie's got a list too, Dark Patriot. I mean, come on, man.
All right, you saved it there, Tommy. I thought you weren't going to mention the Dark Patriot. I was getting worried.
I just
want to tell everybody too, June the 6th, whether it's jokes or funny, I heard that brewery's got some of the best beer in the world. So, hey, come on out, laugh, and have a good time, man.
You ain't kidding. Yeah, come out and see Gene and laugh, and I guarantee it will be funny. But anyway, I would say probably I would go the route, which Tommy said some great guys, Gene. I'd say like Mr. Olympia, and I was going to say one that might throw you and Tommy for a loop. What about Dr. Frank? Dr. Frank was a masked guy, wasn't he?
He sure was.
You remember Dr. Frank, Tommy?
You talking about Frank Morrell?
No, the guy with Frankenstein.
Who was that then?
Dr. Frank was in a box. You don't remember him bringing a box out on Memphis TV and having a guy locked in it and had like a Frankenstein, wasn't it, mask?
Yeah.
Dr. Frank had the little boats on both sides of his head and everything. They unlocked the box and he'd come out with his arms doing like that and everything. But I thought he was cool. I didn't know if you and Tommy would remember that or not. But I will say this. I like Tommy's answer. Where Tommy was going with that. I like the spoiler, Frank Morrell. He was good also.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we're plugging dates for folks. Frank Morrell is going to be at the Kayfabe Cave in Pulaski in August. So that's a rare opportunity to get to see Frank. So I don't have the date in front of me right now. I'll have it next week. But I may take a ride up there and get an autograph from old Frank Morrell. It's been a long time since I've seen him anywhere.
You need to record a little something with him, Gene. Let's put on here.
That's
Bridge Angel.
There you go. That's him. Yeah. So your partner knows you pretty well, Tommy, because when we were waiting for you to get on and was looking at a couple of these questions, Doug said, I bet I'll either say Mr. Wrestling 2, Mass Superstar. He said, or who was the third one? Because he did say it. Now I'm blanking on it.
Mysterious Mr. R.
Yeah, I know you said wrestling too and Bill Eadie, but I think there was one other. But
yeah, let's say.
Mr. You did say Mr. R first, and then Tommy said Mr. R first. So
yeah,
either he knows you well, or you guys are.
And then what
ahead of time.
About the interns, man. I mean, but they go way back. But the interns, I mean, that was a hell of a team. I mean, the mass men. I mean, and like I said before, that's a hard job. Like when you're out selling and stuff in the ring, getting your butt whipped or something. People look at your face, man. The mass man, he had to sell with his body. I mean, so I'm impressed with what they did. Like I said, I wore that mask for a little bit, and that was the hardest thing I ever did, besides trying to sell and not smother to death.
Absolutely. Mark Tucker asks, what is your favorite gimmick match to be in?
I'm gonna tell you, just as far as there's so many different types of gimmicky matches, like funny type or hardcore type, which are so many different hardcore types. But I mean, there's here in Tennessee territory, we had so many different type gimmick stuff. Some of them kind of be, to me, funniest. But anyway, I would say as far as serious type gimmick matches, I'd say like Texas Death, or something that you had a lot of falls and it just wound up being where one person couldn't answer the bell. I think that would be one.
And a lot of them matches were similar. They just changed them up a little bit. Those street fights, anything goes. I love those street fight. Like Dougie said, they had the stretcher match. I mean, the Texas Death, bull rope match. Just all of them. And that's what people love to see. I mean, you work up and start doing your angle, and you do that, and then you go into all the different gimmick matches. I always enjoyed that part of it because they were all good. But like some of them were, maybe a little funny sometimes, but
But one of the things that kind of was the limitations, Gene, was, and Tommy might disagree with me, he might actually like them, but one of the things I didn't like was, but I mean, I worked in them and I thought some of them was good matches, but I thought limited you was when you was tied to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And because as far as like if me and Tommy both had a thing around our arm hooked to one another, it's hard to do a lot of stuff, when you're not but 6 foot apart. You know what I'm saying? Like the what was the cow? What the bell?
Yeah, like the bull rope, Texas bull rope, chain matches.
Chain match,
and like the chain match. And now, don't get me wrong, I've been in some good ones of them, and I've been in some good ones in tag matches, like when me and Tommy hooked to 2 different guys, and it was actually good. But to me, it was just like it kind of limited you on what you could do. Did you kind of feel that same way, Tommy?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, people knew they was gonna see somebody get busted open, because it wasn't a lot of room, I mean, and you couldn't do there ain't no spots. I mean, in the gimmick matches, you didn't do a lot of spots anyway. It's more brawling than it was anything else. But yeah, that was probably the hardest one. Like Dougie said, I mean, I had some fun in a couple. Like I had some with Ivan Koloff. And they were cool because he knew what he was doing. If you got somebody out there that can lead you, they ain't too bad. But yeah, that would be my hard pick, though. I mean, that they were hard to to get the people with it, and for you to get with it, you had to really work hard.
And then Gene, also like what was different. I don't say this was limitations, but I mean, like I think Tommy's been in a few. Me and him might have been in one together or something. One of them where what they call them, where they ripped your clothes off and the last person.
Oh, yeah, back alley street brawl.
Yeah, like where basically what you was doing was just trying to, you beating each other up and everything, but you're just trying to rip the clothes off of the other team, and whoever was left with something on was the winner of it or something. But I think we was in one of those. But I think there's
when you talk about funny ones, that was a funny one.
Yeah, I mean that's what I meant by. I mean, I didn't mean like most of the gimmick matches was serious, but to me, like that part of it was kind of funniest type as far as. But then you go to Gene, as far as I like the cage matches. I mean, but I like them when it was, and usually it was always built up, unless you just had a big show that you wanted to throw something on to if you didn't have something that meant something and you throw that in there to make it mean something, but like building up for all the different angles that Tommy's been in and I've been in and different matches like Tommy could
Page, Dougie loved them barbed wire matches. I hated a barbed wire match. Dougie, he loved it barbed wire matches.
I just thought it was good that the people would really get into them. And I mean, when people see you touching barbed wire, they know that, there's everybody wants to say, oh, this is work and that's work. And we can tell you how to do it. Well, Gene, it's hard for when you go up against barbed wire, if you touch barbed wire and you see blood on your arm, whatever, it's hard for somebody to say that, something, this ain't real or something. And the whole thing, and Tommy wanted, and I wanted everybody to believe in everything. I mean, we said that before, and we wanted to, and if we was a little stiff with people and everything, but we'd rather that happened as far as something not looking good. But all those different kind of gimmick matches, Gene, that was all actually, as long as they was building for something, I thought they was good. But like I said, it was, well, you said which ones you like best. I liked a lot of them. A lot of them was a little different. Like Tommy can attest to the scaffold matches. I don't think he was too thrilled.
Yeah.
I actually come across yours with Billy Travis last night on YouTube.
Mine and Billy's. That was in Nashville. Was that for that? What did you tell me the name of it was? The group, or which group was that? For Bert, or was
this was for Bert? This was like Tennessee homecoming show, like one of his big shows.
Well, I'm sure if it's me and Billy, I'm sure I was the one that had to fell off of
it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely were the one that fell off.
I was going to say, I think Billy was scared.
You brought up something that,
and
go ahead.
I said, me and Billy been a good team there because I was scared too.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing.
You brought up those back alley street brawls and like the rules of those. Like I got it. Like when two valets were going to fight or two women was going to fight.
You liked that,
right,
didn't you?
We're trying to sell tickets because somebody's going to see one of these women, but every once in a while they do it with the men, and it's like, what logic? Like, have you ever been so mad? It's like, I'm so mad at you, I'm going to rip all your clothes off and strip you naked Monday night.
I can answer that. Back when we was wrestling, there were more women that came to the matches than there was men. So the girls, I mean, we sold a lot of tickets when we had them kind of matches.
Okay. Well, I never thought of it from that perspective. I only see it from my own. So, all right, that makes sense.
There's a lot more guys that go now. I notice a lot of conventions. It's I mean, business went full cycle. I mean, it went from old school to new school, and that part did too, I reckon.
Hey, Tommy told me he was somewhere the other day, Gene. He looked through the whole building. He said there was thousands of people and everything. He didn't see about 5 girls or women.
I believe it. Yeah, they were drugged there against their will.
Hey, he said, which he appreciated all the guys coming, but he said, used to you'd see it, be 3/4 women and 1/4 guys. And now he said it was almost all guys and few women.
And we saw it. Go ahead.
Because they turn out. I mean, they turn out. Thank goodness. Hey, thank you guys too, man. But I didn't mean no disrespect by that. Yeah.
No. It's just an observation. I remember like we were covering 93 on the USWA podcast. They had a back alley street brawl between Miss Texas and Burt Prentice, and I was like, "Who are we cheering for?" Like, if we want to see Burt Prentice get beat, that means we want to see Burt Prentice get stripped. I don't think nobody in that building wanted to see that, did they?
Well, shoot, yeah. I bet you had about a dozen in there, did you?
Well, there probably was at least a.
It had to be a sight.
You ain't kidding.
Well, I'm glad during that Ronnie P. and Burt feud, we didn't have a back alley street brawl because there would be no winners in that one.
I wish. I wish y'all would have had one, Gene. That'd been over with me. Now nobody else but me, probably. I ain't saying I would have looked when they started doing it.
You might want to just explain yourself there, Doug.
Yeah, I'd look the other direction probably, but
I guess
a lot of these
hard had me cover his eyes.
Yeah, like this, Gene. Look.
A lot of these podcast people take quotes and just put them out with no context. Somebody will take this and Doug Gilbert says a Ronnie P versus Burt back alley street brawl would have been over with me.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Paul Cole asks, This is an interesting question, actually. How important is the referee's role in the match from your perspective? And what challenges do you face as a wrestler trying to work around having a bad or just inexperienced referee?
Well, first of all, I mean, referee is very important. I mean, different guys think different. Tommy probably have a good answer for you on this, but I mean, you do have to work around. I've always tried before I got in the ring to talk to the referee for a minute, just saying, what kind of, I don't want to say what he knew, but see if he was kind of cool with, if he'd sounded down with what was going on. You know what I mean, Gene? Just to kind of feel him out and see, because usually you can talk with someone and kind of know if they're kind of with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I've always tried to do. But now, then again, I've gotten in the ring before, and the referee not even been in our side in the dressing room the night before. We got in the ring and never even seen the guy before. So then you're with, trying to figure it out as you go. But a referee is very important as far as timing and what you're doing. And I mean, a lot of times I might tell the referee to, if I'm going to do something different, and I ain't going to go talk to Tommy, even if we're a tag team and I'm doing something in the ring, I might tell the referee, hey, go tell Tommy this. But just to me, tell him, just, what I mean when he walked by him, just say this to him, and Tommy know what I meant by it and everything. But Tommy, what I mean, there's a lot more than that. But
yeah, I mean, and it is, though. I mean, shoot, I would say he's 50% of the match. I mean, if you really want to get to it, I mean, you take guys like Ronnie West, Charlie Smith, Frank Morrell was a good referee. Of course, Frank wouldn't let you get away with too much, but that's the thing to me. Like, you watch some of it in today's world, used to the heel would do everything behind the referee's back. That way the heat would go on him. And some of these referees don't have a clue, and they don't care. They don't understand that all the heat's going on them. But when you work with a Ronnie West or a Charlie Smith or some of these other referees that have been around and know the business, they're a big part. And it should be refereed down the middle. I mean, if they see something, then they ought to bust you, And, a lot of these guys just do it in front of the ref. But that's not the heat. Yeah. Tojo Yamamoto was the sneakiest one of them all. He'd make sure before he did anything that referee was turned the other way. And then he'd give it that little old ugly face of his, and people would want to kill him. I mean, that's how when you're all working together and on the same page. And I think, especially in a lot of these independent shows, the kids, not that they're not that good, they just don't have the experience because nobody's taught them. And these guys today, especially on an independent show, don't care if the referee sees them or if the whole world sees them. It's just different.
And as far as Gene, the question was bad or inexperienced referees. If you're not experienced, as far as working with myself or Tommy, or I think a lot of the guys, if you're not experienced, that's fine. But as long as you want to learn and you listen, because I've been in a ring with a lot of inexperienced referees, but they listened. And like, I would just say something to them, and I'd say, in the back, I'd say, listen, don't get nervous. I said, I know that's easy to say when you're just starting or you're not very experienced, but if you'll just listen, I can talk to you just like we're talking right now. Tommy can too. And I said, just don't be nervous and just relax and listen. And most of the time that always went well, Gene. Like I said, you don't have to be experienced. At some point, everyone is going to be inexperienced. So the part that I was trying to get is, like, me and Tommy, different people are different, but like, our stuff to me is simple. Like, to some people it wouldn't be simple, but to me, saying the stuff that we do is simple. I mean, to some people they'd say, well, that ain't simple. Well, maybe they don't think it is, but it really to us is. You know what I'm saying, Gene? And if you listen step by step, it's kind of like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, when I first started wrestling, when you get to work with the best, it's like dancing, man. You got one leader and one follower. So like, if that referee, like Dougie said, if he's inexperienced or what, as long as he's listening on the same page with you, then you can walk him through it too, But it's some of them that think they already got it, or right up in your face, there's a time and a place. And it all comes with experience.
And you know what, Gene, with Tommy saying that, and earlier he said about Tojo being the best heel, right, as far as getting heat and, with the referee being turned. I saw something the other day, Tommy, that I loved, and I'd like to watch it with you, and I don't know if Gene's saying it or not, but it was Tojo in a match I'd never seen him in. And you know what it was, Tommy? He was wrestling a bear.
Oh my!
Shoot.
I'd like to see that thing.
Hey, you talking about Gene? Have you saw that?
I haven't seen that. No.
Oh my gosh, you and Tommy have got to. We all three need to watch that together. Or you get a clip. And put
I'll
it on
find
here.
that.
You
yeah.
talking about some cool stuff. And you know what Tojo went? And I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to throw salt in the bear's eyes.
I was about to ask you that.
He went in his tights, and I thought, what is he fixing to do to this bear? You can't throw salt in the bear's eyes, I wouldn't think. But knowing Tojo, what from. I didn't know what was fixed to happen, but you would laugh. That bear, it looked like it bit him a few times. I laughed. You talking about some of the funniest. I thought if Tommy and Gene had seen this, they'd love this.
Oh, man. Before you go any further, I got a good bear story, too. When I first met Terry Lynn, I took her down to your hometown, Anderson, Alabama, Gene. And you remember Ben that had the bears? Anyway, he had the bears and he traveled. And anyway, we wrestled, and they had these two young boys go wrestle the bear. And anyway, they went out and was doing something, and there was a little old gal there, and she had some honey. Anyway, I put some honey in their tights. And that bear was the funniest thing you ever seen in your life. That bear snapped you anyway. But
yeah.
Bear him over, and he had that muzzle on. He'd be bipping him, sticking that tongue out. Both of them ended up getting out of the ring and running. That's my part. I'm glad Dougie said.
But hey, that is funny. But yeah, like I said, we'll have to get a little clip of Tojo and the bear, Gene. That was pretty cool.
That's my mission this week. I've got to find that clip. If anybody out there is listening that knows where it's at or can send me a link, please do. I'm on Facebook. All right, next question. Stanhausen asks, after listening to the top tag teams episode, I'd like to hear your list of the top 5 managers in Memphis wrestling history.
Tommy, you want me to start or you want to start? I'll start out. I'm gonna say Sam Bass, Dr. Ken Ramey, Jimmy Hart, Scott Bowden, Big Business Brown.
All right. Tommy?
I like Big Business. I like Sam Bass. I like Ken Ramey. Jimmy Hart. Who managed the Kangaroos? What was his name?
Al Costello.
Al Costello. I like Al.
Wasn't that right, Gene? Am I right?
Yeah.
They had the Australia hats and everything. Yeah. And then Sir Clements.
Sir Clements?
Yeah.
Who'd Sir Clements manage, Gene?
Oh, gosh.
Man, he don't know.
I don't. That's a little before my time, actually. I'm sure I've read it in the past, but it's not ringing a bell right now.
Dang, I can't even think either.
So Boss Winters didn't make anybody's list here?
Yeah, I should have put Boss on mine.
Kenny D?
I love Boss Winters. Somebody told me the other day he was still doing all right. I hope he still is.
Tux Newman?
That wasn't going to make my list now. You get me to put some on there, Gene, but I can't put him. I don't mean it bad, but he just wasn't ever.
Well, and who we were just talking about wrestling the bear, Tojo, managed just about every Japanese wrestler that came through Memphis for,
Sir Dudley Clements was what he went as. His name was Stephen Jeffrey Beresford.
You knew that, didn't you, Tommy?
No.
He got killed in a vehicle that was driven by Brute Bernard.
Oh.
And he managed Al Costello and Don Kent.
Oh, so the original Kangaroos before Al Costello retired and became the manager of two other guys.
Okay. There you go.
That makes sense. There it is. Well, all right, Stanhausen. I hope that answered your question. Next up, we've got Andy Savage, is this fellow's name, allegedly. He says, I heard Doug say on an old episode that for whatever reason, both he and Eddie just didn't seem to have any chemistry with Bill Dundee, and the matches weren't as good as they hoped they would be. Was there anyone else you experienced that with, and who did Tommy experience that with?
And I don't want anybody to take that wrong. I love Bill, and I think Eddie got along well with Bill also. But what I was saying, just chemistry working. I bet somebody, it might not be many, but I bet Tommy might have had a person, whether he says he did or not. But I think what me and Eddie just thought was we'd seen Bill in such great matches with different guys that we just thought. I think he thought he would for sure be able to have a great match with Bill. And I thought that after I seen Eddie kind of struggle with it, I thought, wow, me being a little bit different, Eddie, I'm going to go about this a different way and I'll have a better match with him, which I think I had some okay matches, but I understood, me and Eddie talked about it, and I understood what he meant by, you think you're going to have a great match with somebody, but just the chemistry just don't seem to fit when you get in the ring, even if you talk and you're all right. And I mean, because I think we all got along well together, but Tommy, was there anybody with you do you kind of know what I'm saying there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I had something I didn't like to wrestle too much, but it just, I mean, not that I was struggling, it just I didn't care for.
Right.
But
I was sitting here when y'all started that. I was sitting here thinking, I wrestled Roberto Soto a couple of times, but we was both baby faces, and that's hard anyway. And at the end of the day, I won the match, and he wasn't happy about that. So that'd probably be mine would be Roberto Soto.
But you know what I'm saying, Gene, which like I said, and I love Bill as far as I grew up watching him, and I thought he was great.
Probably better than you thought too, Dougie. I mean, you know, Eddie, y'all worst critics. I mean, what y'all think so, people, think you're tearing the building down. So, it's harder because maybe you want to impress him. I mean, I know that Bill was y'all's hero and stuff. So I mean, no, but Bill, I wrestled. Of course, I teamed up with Bill. Of course, I wrestled Bill too. When I was starting out, him and George Barr, all they did was beat the hell out of me, so I didn't really have to do too much.
Well, see, I think I've told you on here before, though, it probably didn't really help me much at the start of the angle, me working with Bill. Bill went out there, they talked to us and told us kind of, what direction to go in. Bill went out and started a promo, and I was going to come out and cut him off right before I went out. Lawler called me aside and said, just when you go out, when he starts to talk to you, say, shut up, old man, you're old or something. And, oh my gosh. And that's why I tell guys, never call anybody old, never call anybody fat. I said, what good does it do for you to call me old and then I go out and beat you? What good does it do for you to call me fat, then me go out and beat you? Do not call nobody old, nobody fat. No, I said, we need to try to put everybody over. So when one of us does beat the other one, it looks like you beat somebody. But I learned that lesson real quick.
Yeah, I tell you who got the most out of it would have been Jerry King Lawler, because he was probably in the back laughing.
Oh, yeah. He's like, watch this. Watch what I told Doug.
I'm sure he did, because as quick as that old come out of my mouth, he slapped me. He slapped me so quick, and then we just started brawling, which we was going to start brawling anyway, but we were supposed to cut promo back and forth for about a minute and a half. Well, that minute and a half promo went after I said old, it went straight to a slap. I mean, just hard as he could, and I thought, oh my gosh.
And to your point, it works both ways. He goes out there and he calls somebody old, and they beat you. You got beat by an old man, but even if you beat them, Well, so what? You beat an old man, so you've diminished him
exactly.
either way.
And I've told Tommy's laughing, man. I've told guys that, like, in ring, somebody, like younger kids, say something and say, "Oh, old man, this," and they wind up, me and Tommy wind up beating. We go back. I said, "Listen, why? Explain to me why you would say that." And not that it got me hot or nothing, but I'm just trying to explain to them why it's better if you don't say it. And everything, and you can be called whatever. I mean, even if they won't say on the microphone,
fat boy or something, called him the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion or something.
Right.
You build them up, win or lose, like you said. Even if you lose, the old man done beat your ass. So that's
But Gene, you'll laugh. Tommy every once in a while laugh at me because I'll say I ain't gonna say nothing, and then they come back and I say, "Hey, come here a minute." And I say, "What good did this do you?" I said, "Look, we need to make everybody look better than what they are for you to improve some." I said, you don't try to tear somebody down and it makes you look better. I said, just winds up making you look worse. So it just goes back to that logic, Gene.
Yeah. I mean, and Bill taught you something that day. And then when you call that guy aside, you're teaching him something, but at least you didn't slap the shit out of him in front of everybody out there in the ring.
Right.
But, that's one of the benefits of having you guys on the show as well, is like, you're teaching people, like, you're not doing that because, like you said, you're not mad because of what they said. You're just teaching them, like, hey, here's why you don't do that. And people should appreciate that.
But you laugh because used to where Tommy would have said it, he quit saying it. And I'd tell him, I ain't going to say nothing. And then I couldn't hold myself. I'd say, hey, come here. And then he'd get tickled and start laughing. I thought, oh, man, I just got to say it.
Well, it's good that you do, man, because I think that's the big problem these days that I see in locker rooms is, like, guys come through the curtain and they'll say, how was it? And the same 5 guys that were just talking about how bad it was the shits while they were in the ring, high five and go, oh, yeah, man, it was great. Look good. Well, that's not doing anybody any good. You ain't got to browbeat them or anything, but, be honest with them. Like, hey, this could have been better, or the timing on this was off or something. But I don't know. Nobody really takes criticism or gives it.
You know what I've heard, Gene? And I'll look at Tommy. I got on. Was it good? Yeah, I got all my spots in, man. Well,
hey, me and Doug will be back there shaking our head, and they'll walk by, and I'll say, oh, yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm one of them.
I've seen some of the guys that's been around a while. The guys will come back and go, and they weren't watching the match. They were talking to somebody, and somebody go, was it good? And they'll go, I like everything I saw. Like, oh, great. And they walk away, and I didn't see none of it, but oh, well.
And they, they don't, now, like, if somebody calls me outside before their match and says, watch it, tell me what you think, then that's a different horse. But just when they come back, you see, like they planted on you, sit there. A lot of times I might watch a minute of it. That's all I can take or something. Oh, it was good. But that's, because they don't, even if you tell them it's bad, they ain't going to ask you what was wrong with it, because they're going to get back there in their corner and tell each other how good they are.
And anything you try to tell them, most of them go, but, and they'll defend themselves and not take any of it.
Hey, you talking about some funny stuff. Now, I used to hear Tommy every once in a while. He'd get on your damn tag team, Gene. He'd get on down Wolfie Jamie for a minute. And you talking about he'd make him read them the riot act. You talking about some funny damn conversations that was.
I'm sure Wolfie like to be around this new Tommy that doesn't criticize.
Yeah.
But
he was one of them, of course, Wolfie having feelings too, but he really was sincere, wanted to know. And then when you dog him, it just be like, and then I got so deep I couldn't quit. Doug would say, easy. I said, shit, he's rolling now. I had to keep. Yeah, but Wolfie, but he wanted criticism. Then of course I'd take a little deep, but. It was, but I did it because I loved him. That we had a hell of a program with him. A lot of respect for him and Jamie both. I mean, they both worked their butts off. I seen Jamie crawl up the ring and puke, come back out and fight again. They were there and shoot most of the nights, especially in the spot shows. We'd go 30 minutes, You know, I mean, they especially Jamie wasn't built for that. Wolfie might have been a little more built for it, but yeah, they was a great tag team too. I mean, you talk about tag teams, they at USWA step that we had. I mean, you couldn't ask for no better.
And Gene, if we could have had cameras in them days and put one when I'd leave Tommy with Wolfie, and we could have reality TV, you talking about some funny dang stories. There, it'd be like the Outdoors of the Woods version sometimes. So you talking about some funny story.
That story he told in his book of him and Tommy breaking out the back door when his girlfriend showed up and they were running through the woods with a cooler. Eventually had to stop and sit down on the cooler.
Well, I was fixing to say the thing about stop, sit down, and drink a beer.
It's all the time because of that one incident. Yeah, I had to escape his house. This girl.
Oh, that's funny.
I was tell you, I mean, I probably wasn't on him that hard. He just had feelings that were on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me we got to go. We carried coolers, bags. They probably thought we broke in a house somewhere.
Tommy told me, he said, don't never leave me with him again. I laughed. You talking about funny. You talking about a funny story.
Oh, man, if we had a budget, we need reenactments of some of these stories like they do on Dark Side of the Ring, Two people playing Tommy and Wolfie running through the woods.
Hey, what you need to do is call Wolfie because he's your boy. You need to call Wolfie and tell him Tommy ain't going to be on the show. I'd like to do something with you about PG-13 with you and Dougie, do a show about that, and then I just call in.
You show up in the middle.
Yeah, start on him, see how long he stays.
I have a timer going, just kayfabe it, but there's a timer going to see how long he stays on. I don't know. We might can make that happen one of these days. We'll see. Jeffrey Brown asks, I recently read in some old results that Tommy beat Bobby Heenan in a loser leave town cage match in 1979. Can Tommy tell us about Bobby back then and how it was to work with him?
Well, Bobby, of course, back then he managed Blackjack Lanza, but Bobby Heenan, man, he was one of them. He's kind of like a Gary Hart, man. They just had a knack for the business, and Bobby, but Bobby could wrestle some too. I mean, Bobby, but he managed it, but what a promo. I mean, he could cut the promos, but like in that cage match, I mean, we had a good one and tore the building down. I mean, and that wasn't his cup of tea. I think in his early days, he might have started out wrestling, but I'm not sure about that. But I mean, I had some good matches with him.
And I've seen great matches with Bobby in them, Gene. I mean, great wrestling. He's one of the greatest to me, which, he worked before he managed, but he was one of the greatest bumping managers that I ever saw. I mean, his stuff looked, which, like I said, he was one of the boys. And like I said, he had a hell of a run as Botwinkle's manager, but I think he was with a lot of different people. But man, he had the look. He could talk. He could cut promos for guys if they couldn't do it. He had that look, and I mean, he was just really, really. I said him in some great stuff at angles.
And in those early days, he would bleed a lot. Like there's all kinds. I go through them old magazines. There's all kinds of pictures of of Bobby busted open and. But even into his older age, like in the 80s and early 90s, as a manager, when it come time for him to bump, my goodness, I mean, he
where was
somebody's business.
Where was this match at? Was it here or was it in
Georgia? Yeah, it was in Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
Yep. I was glad they sent that in. I wasn't even aware that was a match that had happened, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
What year was that, G?
79. So Alan Ruth asks, Doug, what was the best advice your father ever gave you, and what was the best advice your brother ever gave you?
I'd say my dad gave me a lot of advice, and a lot of it was really good. As far as wrestling business goes, I'd say, like when we was training, he would say, whether you're going to be, you don't know when you go into different territories a lot of the time when you come in, they know they need a heel, but a lot of times they need baby faces also when you're going into different territories. He said, so his advice was like when you're training, when he was first training me to work, train to be able to work as a baby face or a heel or what he would say is like a utility guy, where anytime you went anywhere, you could work as whatever they needed you. Not just one, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you could be used in any instance, whatever the case was needed to be. But his logic on that was for you to learn how to work as a heel and a baby face. You know what I'm saying? Where you could, which I mean, his logic was, and Tommy can attest to this for me, but his logic was wrestling like a wrestling heel or a wrestling baby face. But the whole thing in that is wrestling like I don't want to say amateur wrestler, but like a hold type wrestler and be able to go. And that was one of the things I remember as far as wrestling advice that he gave me. He gave me a lot just as far as life goes and everything that I remember. It was really good. But that's
Dougie, listened to the wrestling part, but that other part.
Yeah, I might not listen to it as much as I should have.
Dougie will kid, boy. I heard about it getting in a little trouble every now and then with his buddy.
Yeah, I get in a little bit every once in a while. And then the second part of the question was the best advice that my brother gave me. And I'd say, and I think what they would probably mean was wrestling. My brother gave me a lot of life advice plus wrestling advice. But I'd say wrestling advice was, just always work hard and be respectful to your elders and listen. And Eddie's thing was, he wanted to do what was best for everybody. But I mean, he would say, keep your heat. As far as one of the things he always told me, it didn't matter what you done. He didn't think any finish basically hurt you as long as you kept your heat after you was done. Now, there were some finishes he didn't particularly care for, and he would tell people that also and everything. But his advice to me was, as long as everything was done for a reason, do what everybody wanted, but also kind of take care of yourself. But he wasn't saying don't not do business with people, but do business for the right reasons. And I mean, that was a lot of his advice.
Well, and Eddie too, though. I mean, a good heel can get in. Just what Dougie said. A good heel can get beat every night as long as he keeps that heat. And Eddie was real good about that. You can beat Eddie every night, but he would walk out of there with heat. I mean, but Eddie was hell of a worker, but a hell of a brain for the business too.
Was the second best advice Eddie ever gave you was watch out for that Tommy Rich guy?
Yeah, he said watch him for sure.
I mean,
my favorite example of that, what you're talking about, Doug, we talked about it on here a good while ago, is like you guys had like those cage matches like weeks in a row, and finally came down to one where you guys lost, you got pinned, you got your head shaved, and you would think like, all right, well, they've beat him, they've shaved his head, what now? And then you guys came out on TV that Saturday morning with the hair restoring
Granny Gilbert's.
Granny Gilbert's. Exactly. And you had a full head of hair. And to me, that's one of the great examples of you guys turning it around and keeping the heat and rolling right on.
Oh, yeah, that was something. During the week, people would ask me, said, are you going to Puerto Rico, Doug? Are you going here for a little bit or there? I said, no, I don't think I'm going anywhere. And they said, what? And because they had talked about all this before, and which everybody thought I was leaving for a little bit. And, after a lot of blow-offs, you would leave for a little bit. But we just turned that around, done that, and started again.
Yeah, good stuff. Chris Hernandez asked, Tommy, did you enjoy your time teaming with Austin Idol, and how similar was Idol behind the scenes to the Idol we saw on television?
Watch the hair, baby. Watch the hair. No, he did that behind the scenes too. No, also, hey, that deal we did with Lawler shaving his head. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest angles. I mean, people still talk about it. I mean, and me and him teamed up a lot there in Memphis. And then when he come to Georgia, we teamed up a couple times. Plus, I wrestled him some. He's a lot better teaming up with him than he was wrestling.
I wondered about that.
And here's the thing people didn't know. Like, I figured Tommy was going to say something nice like that and everything. But, like, him and Eddie always done really great business together. You know, there's some people that you wouldn't think would chemistry would work together, but him and Eddie's chemistry really did. And I think that shocked a lot of people because they thought, you know, Eddie wanted his way and he was hot-headed about stuff. People would say and this and that, but Eddie really got along with, and it was all about somebody being able to draw money and doing what he said and everything. But him and Eddie worked programs in Continental. I don't know if you remember seeing any of them,
Oh, yeah.
Gene, those matches. But, man, I thought they had some great matches.
Absolutely.
And he always done, you know, the kickback on him was he won't do business or do what you want, but he always done everything that Eddie asked him. So that was what I always took. You know, you take what people does, you know, with you and everything. That's kind of the way you think about it. But now I've heard all the, I don't know if you want to say nightmare stories or whatever about him, but he was always done really good business with Eddie, and that's what I always took from it.
Yeah, I mean, that was that for some reason that feud in particular really sticks with me in Continental around that time, and Idol was carrying around that axe handle with him, and
and I mean, because all that, it was so real, wasn't it, Gene? I mean, it was all that was so, and I mean, it was thought out, and Eddie had it all what he wanted to do in his head, and that was just a really good time.
Next up, Flapjack Mulligan asks, guys, what was your all-time favorite arena to wrestle in?
Tommy.
Damn, I loved them all, man. I mean, you know, back when I started, I mean, you know, it was all small buildings. You know, they wasn't Memphis had the big Coliseum, but the rest of them, I mean, of course, Louisville, but, you know, I mean, Tupelo, Mississippi, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and they'd pack them out and they'd be some of the best fans in the world. I mean, you know, but the big buildings, I mean, there in Lexington, Kentucky was a good one. Louisville, Memphis Coliseum, then, of course, the Omni. I mean, every territory had its best building. I mean, New Orleans was a Superdome. I mean, when it went to big buildings, but a lot of business was done in these small buildings starting out. I mean, that's where it all started.
Tommy told me, Gene, one time we was riding down the road talking about something. Just I don't think we asked each other questions like you're asking us here, but something got brought up, and we was talking about when he was just starting, and he said, when I just started, he said, we went to Lexington, Kentucky, and he was talking about how the people was into it and everything. He said, I walked out that first time, he said, it was like I was a rock and roll star. And he started laughing, and I started laughing. We rolled up the roadways, and he started talking again. I looked at him, I said, rock and roll star, huh? And he started laughing. He said, yep. He said, that's what it was like. But that's what, and like, you picture Tommy when he's young, and you picture what that Rupp Arena, that was when y'all wrestled Rupp Arena, right?
Yes, sir.
So you imagine Rupp Arena, but I mean, Gene, if you ask me the same question, I'd say the Louisville Gardens. I really loved the Gardens, and I think we catered a little bit RTV more to the Gardens and that area at the last of the USWA than we ever did before, and that was really cool and everything. And but all the buildings, like Tommy said, you know, I used to just, it was a thing about history as far as Memphis at the Coliseum, but and like Tommy saying, Rupp Arena and Lexington, but for me, like the Louisville Gardens were really cool. And then you go to go to Japan, the Cork Hall was one of the cool buildings, which I wrestled a lot of cool ones over there. But like Tommy said, as far as Tupelo, Jonesboro, the different, I mean, Jackson, Tennessee at the used to be the Coliseum, now it's Oman Arena. Now I don't even think they run it, but it was just a little bit smaller of a Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis here at Jackson. It was same, you know, it was built just like everything. It just held about 4,000 less people. But all those buildings that like we used to go to was really cool buildings. But like I said, the Louisville Gardens had a special spot for me. But then again, I go back and I say like Jonesboro, just the buildings at Jonesboro. Like when I was a kid, the building that Tommy and them wrestled in Jonesboro, it was just a wrestling like building. Like me and Tommy said before, they was kind of stacked on top of each other up, going high and everything. It was just a wrestling atmosphere. But all those buildings was really cool, wasn't it, Tommy?
Yes, sir. Even Evansville, Indiana. I mean, it's all electric.
That's what I was fixing to say that time, and I figured you'd laugh.
We dread going because the building was so dark. But then you get there, and the fans that came, man, they was fired up. So, I mean, you sit back there, but when you got in the ring, man, it was a different story. I had some I liked, some I didn't maybe, but they was all back when we're talking, man. They was all electric.
Hey, Gene, they'd rib me a lot. Tommy would, and they'd say, because like I said, on a couple shows, like in the holidays where they had the buildings booked, they'd have to do Memphis on Wednesday, and they'd had to do Evansville still on Wednesday because of the leases that they'd signed with them. Yeah. So they couldn't do Memphis on Monday, so they'd move it to Wednesday. Well, they'd put Tommy and Lawler in Memphis and send me and somebody to Evansville. Well, the funny rib was, I told Tommy one time, he said something about, why you always go to Evansville? Well, it wasn't my freaking idea. It was because they sent me to Evansville. But I told him, I said, because I'm the king of Evansville, which him and Lawler and everybody else would be in Memphis, and me and freaking 6 more schmoes would be in Evansville. But I told Tommy, I said, because I'm the king of Evansville. We get to Evansville every once in a while. He'd say, this is your town, ain't it? I said, yeah, it's my town. That's where me and Tommy drove home. We wasn't supposed to be but 30 miles away from in a spot show on a Thursday night. Me and him did. I don't know what we was thinking this night, but the hotel, like our hotel, Gene, we had a deal like $30 or something. So a nice hotel, but it was like $30 for me and Tommy. We walked in one night and there's a new person there, and they told us it's going to be $35. So instead of me and Tommy spending the night in our hotel, we drove 200 miles back to Nashville to drive 200 miles back up there the next day.
Somebody put something in our drinks.
On the principle of $5.
Yeah, over that $5. Tommy looked at me.
I swear, when we was riding back, the raindrops was as big as a football. So I know I got.
Oh boy. So last question here. Kid Vicious asks, Doug, if you could only show someone one angle from Eddie's entire career that you feel best represents who Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert was what Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert was all about, what angle would that be?
You know what? A lot of people probably disagree with this, and there's a whole lot of angles that I could say. But one that I think really shows what Eddie could do and was about, and it actually involves Tommy. It's the where they was partners, and then they wasn't partners, and then Eddie comes out and apologizes, and the people buys into it, and then they start walking off together, and Eddie posts Tommy. That was one of the cool things. That was right at the beginning of the Hot Stuff era and everything. Yeah. But that's a really cool one. But Gene, there's 5 or 6 dozen different things that I could have said. The thing where he brought Steamboat back to work with Barry Windham and them, or the all the different territories he was in. There was great angles that he booked. But as far as showing him as what he could do as far as with his mind, as far as getting the people to believe and them actually buying in and cheering and everything, and then him and Tommy going to walk off, and then him posting Tommy and Tommy getting a lot of color and everything, and then the money that they drew during that time, I think was really cool and everything. But there's a ton of different angles. But like I said, that kind of shows the depth and as far as the mind wise, and as far as his working ability, and him and Tommy always worked really good together.
And people, they think they can call it, but it's it's when they don't see it coming, then you've done the right job. And they didn't see that day, they didn't see that coming. I don't know if I did either, no, but it was that was a real good angle. Here, then boom, it was over,
And then another just cool, just off of that, Gene, the Mr. Dothan deal. That was kind of a cool deal.
Yeah.
Where everybody thought it was going to be Idol, and it wound up being John Gillen. Nobody could have saw that coming. And then the next thing, Idol hits with like you said, the axe handle deal. That was a cool deal.
Yeah, I wish there was footage of that somewhere. The other one that I originally thought of when I read that question, and it's in the similar vein to the one with him and Tommy, was the angle in UWF where he was with the Russians, and he denounced the Russians to Bill Watts and gave Bill the Russian flag.
Right.
He's an American, and they've gone too far, Bill. I'm on your side.
And I agree. That was one, Gene, where they puts the flag on Bill.
Yeah, so he ends up hitting Bill with that shovel.
Yeah.
And they bury him in the flag, which Bill Watts was like so super patriotic. And they had been building up for weeks. Him and Dr. Death, we hate Russia and all that kind of stuff. It was huge.
I bet you one thing. I bet if Tommy had a side take, he'd probably took the Russian side.
I'd probably hit him for real with that. He wouldn't know there was no flag over him.
Not a fan, huh?
Yeah,
Tommy said,
but he probably had a fan of mine either. So,
I don't know that he was a fan of many people. It didn't seem like, but I guess he had to like somebody. But yeah, we may dig into that a little further one of these days, folks. Keep that in mind when you're sending your questions next time. Let's get down to the root of Tommy's problem with Bill Watts.
I was just saying, you got to really think about that, because every other time we say Tommy's against the Russians, but now I'm saying he might have been on their side, so I don't know.
Hey, don't forget, too, this weekend, man, 10th and 11th, going to be in Pikeville, Kentucky. Big meet and greet Friday and Saturday. And then Friday night, I'll be wrestling. And then, hey, y'all got any more questions, like Gene said, just give us a holler. And, you got some bookings, some parties, just whatever you need, just contact Gene or Dougie, man, because we're down for anything.
You ain't kidding, man. And listen, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you've got the answers that you was looking for. If you got any questions, just shoot them to Gene. If you need me and Tommy for anything, shoot it to Gene. He'll get it to us. But listen, thanks for listening. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Peace. We're out.
Bell rings. Crowd raw. 2 chairs. 1 war. Pull up a seat. Turn that dial. Old scars, same smile. Doug leans in, says, you remember that fire? From Memphis Nights to barbed wire. Name drop legends, stories get rough. When Wildfire laughs, you know it's about to get tough. From studio lights with Lance and Dave to the Mid-South Coliseum like a tidal wave. Dangerous conversations, turn it up, let it hit. Doug Gilbert in the hot seat. Wildfire, Tommy Rich. From Memphis to Japan, every tale, every stitch. Dangerous conversations, you don't change this. Eddie in the car, booking towns on a map. Calling shots, writing fate in a napkin scrap. Cornet heat, fans losing their minds. Blood on the mat, they drew that line. Talking promos, payoffs, plain. How the business broke hearts and blessed their name. From those wild brawls to Tokyo lights, they still swing hard in these late night dangerous conversations, turn it up, let it hit. Doug Gilbert in the hot seat. Wildfire, Tommy Rich. From Memphis to Japan, every scar, every stitch. Dangerous conversations, you don't change this. War stories, road stories, same 2 voices, different glory. Pull that curtain, let it fall. If you think you've heard it all, you ain't heard it all. Dangerous conversations, turn it up, let it hit. Doug Gilbert in the hot seat. Tommy Rich. From Memphis to Japan, every truth, every myth. Dangerous conversations, you don't change this. Bell rings, fade to black. Same 2 legends talking back.